The exhaust cracks like a rifle shot inside the tunnel, and every hair on your arm stands up before your brain even catches up. Heat rolls off the hood in visible waves. Carbon ceramic discs glow a faint, dull orange behind spinning wheels, and the smell of hot brake dust hangs in the air long after the engine shuts off. Something that idles this quiet should not scream like this at wide-open throttle. And the number hiding behind this cockpit is about to make you question everything you thought you knew about who's allowed to build a real supercar. This is the Toyota GR-GT, and it matters to American buyers right now because it proves a Japanese brand can walk straight into Ferrari and McLaren territory without apologizing for it. The styling doesn't whisper, it argues. Low, wide headlights slice into a front fascia packed with functional vents, a hood scoop that's actually pulling air instead of decorating the sheet metal. Toyota says the openings are functional, serving cooling or aerodynamic purposes rather than simply decorating the body. Here's the number that sounds fake until you say it out loud. Toyota says 641 horsepower and 627 pound-feet, out of a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 paired with electric assist. Compare that to a Chevrolet Corvette Z06, America's own homegrown supercar slayer. And on paper, the GR-GT still comes out ahead on torque. And Toyota says the GR-GT uses the company's first full aluminum vehicle structure in a production car, which tells you they weren't treating this as a side project. Now picture yourself strapped into the seat. Throttle response here is built to feel like a demand, not a suggestion. Toyota pairs that twin-turbo V8 with an 8-speed automatic transmission positioned toward the rear, a layout intended to improve weight distribution and put more of the chassis to work when you get into the pedal. The exhaust note is layered, mechanical, almost surgical, nothing like the boomage drone you'd expect from a big American V8. Toyota is positioning it as more than a weekend weapon, engineered to stay composed when you're not chasing lap times. Then the road opens up, and that's where the engineering starts to matter. Take it out on a stretch like Angeles Crest Highway on a cool morning, and this is where the architecture should matter most. That full aluminum structure keeping curb weight under 4,000 pounds, according to Toyota, with the transmission positioned toward the rear. Here's what nobody's talking about yet. If that rear weight bias actually translates to the road the way Toyota's numbers suggest, it could change how this car rotates mid-corner, pivoting rather than sliding wide, which would be rare for anything putting down this much power. Real quick, does a rear bias chassis like that sound like more of a strength to you, or more of a risk on a wet mountain road? On-screen poll, would you trust a 641 horsepower rear-weighted supercar on a canyon road? A. Absolutely. That's the whole appeal. B. Only in perfect weather. C. No thanks. Too risky. D. Depends entirely on the tires. Assuming those numbers hold up under independent testing, a car with this kind of chassis balance could put genuinely exotic machinery on notice, including cars that cost twice what a Corvette Z06 does. But here's where this Toyota gets uncomfortable, because the moment you look at what it actually costs, the Corvette isn't the real problem anymore. Here's the truth. This car isn't really cross-shopping a Corvette Z06 on price at all. If Toyota lands near the roughly $200,000 being discussed as a starting point, you're looking at nearly twice the entry price of a Z06. And if raw dollar per thrill is your only metric, the Corvette wins outright. No argument. But that's not actually the same argument. The Z06 is the value proposition. The GR-GT is the exclusivity proposition. It's for the enthusiast who wants a halo car nobody else at the Cars and Coffee meet will have. Someone who values rarity over spreadsheet efficiency, especially if Toyota's reported US allocation really is only a few hundred cars a year. Walk away from this one if you need daily driver practicality on a budget, or if 6 figures beyond a Z06 doesn't buy you enough emotional return to justify it. My bold prediction: should Toyota deliver on what it's promising, in 20 years this becomes the car people point to as the moment Toyota proved it belonged in the same conversation as Ferrari and Porsche, not just Nissan and Subaru. That heat still rolling off the hood, that exhaust crack still ringing in your ears, that's the sound of a company that spent decades building reliable sedans deciding it also wanted a supercar legacy. If you remember one thing from this video, remember this: Toyota didn't just build a fast car, it built a statement. So here's the real question: Does the GR-GT deserve exotic car money because of what it can actually do, or because of what it represents? And does a Toyota badge earn that kind of money in your eyes? If you want to see this car the moment it hits the road, hit subscribe, because we are not missing this one.